Impact.
Zeroing an inch high at 100 and why that's nonsense. I ask experts.
This is it. This is where I get crucified for missing something out.
Is it Clay Watch or Bay Watch? We're out with the dynamic ladies.
Great excuse just to dress up, really. And the ladies love it.
Niall Rowantree talks about thermal. David is on the news stump. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. Something that has long bothered me about deerstalkers. Why do almost all of us zero our rifles an inch high at 100? Using all the ballistics measurements we have available to us, surely there's a more accurate zero. Happily, it turns out I am right. I don't know why I'm right, so I asked the gents from LRT, Long Reach Tactical, to explain.
What we want is as minimal thinking as possible. So we want to be able to just point and shoot. We want to know how far is it that I can aim centre on that target size where my bullet will still impact. The trajectory won't go higher than that target and it won't go lower, or obviously it'll have to go lower at some point, but when it drops off, what is that furthest distance?
Now, Browning lent me one of its new X-Bolt 2 rifles, which I used a few weeks ago in Scotland. I had zeroed it an inch high at 100 and, given that the animal was less than 100 metres or yards, I had no problems. Down on the LRT range on Bodmin Moor in Cornwall, Max picks up the rifle and says what he thinks of it.
Yeah, it's a nice looking rifle. I've just picked it up, so it's a case of my opinions are going to be pretty quick and off the cuff, I suppose. A very lightweight rifle with a thin barrel. You've got a sight on there it's very simple. You're kind of limited to short range engagements, I'd say. You can clearly adjust your comb. You can get that cheek placement very consistent. By adjusting the height, I imagine you can probably buy aftermarket parts to extend length of pull if needed, if natural alignment's off. Reticle is just a simple crosshair, which does limit you to mainly sort of point and shoot. You can hold, but you kind of get a bit awkward. So that's the only reason. So if we're pushing out a bit further today, it might be a bit difficult, purely because you haven't got definitive points of aim that you can use the reticle for. And then your dialing options. I just had a brief look, third MOA. You can definitely dial, but it's not a sight that's been set up for that. It's been a sight with hunting in mind.
Like many, if not most, stalking rifles. So, the two numbers I want are, number one, the maximum range this rifle and cartridge combo can give me without me having to resort to holdover or twiddling my turret, and the optimum zero to achieve that maximum range. Got that? And the reason I want those numbers is so I can be confident that if I aim at a red or seek a deer's heart out to that maximum range, I don't have to think about adjustments. That deer will fall over. Just so we're clear, here's a deer. Here's the line of sight to that deer. Here's 4 inches above the line of sight and 4 inches below. 8 inches is the height of its heart. So what is the best place to put the zero so that the arc of the bullet passes through that 8-inch tunnel for the longest possible distance? Max explains the numbers I need.
Yeah, to get the most out of this rifle, we want to push it a little bit further than maybe its intended use. Hunting, we usually say around 300 metres is maybe the max for a lot of people. However, if we want to see how this actually gets on, we should probably push the range, and to do that we need some information of where to aim, and to do that we need a gun profile. What we need then, it might not necessarily be in this order, but it's just as it come out. So height over bore, the difference between the centre of your barrel and the centre of your optic, okay, and it's what it needs to judge angles and things. You've got a tolerance of around 10 mil. If you're more or less than 10 mil, you're probably going to find an issue, but if you've got the time to measure it properly, measure it properly. The next thing we'll need is a muzzle velocity. This one is probably one of the harder ones to get. It's a simple case of finding a chronograph. Most people either have some form of chronograph on them nowadays, or when you're at your gun range or your club, there's bound to have someone who's there. And it's a simple case of when you're zeroing, when you're shooting, we're just gonna find out what the average muzzle velocity that your rifle and your ammunition combination is actually pushing out. I've done it before 100% where we didn't know what the muzzle velocity was. We put in the muzzle velocity that was on the box as a starting point, and then through some sort of maths and measuring drop and stuff, we can sort of fudge it there. But most people have chronographs now. So twist rate is what's on your barrel. So this is telling about how many inches or centimeters it takes for your bullet to do one full rotation. Next one we're going to go for is, let's say, grain of the bullet. That should be on your box. And that makes a difference when it comes to things like drop and stuff. Drag model, the calculator needs to have something to go off. and that is either a drag model like a BC that people have heard, so ballistic coefficient, and then the calculator just uses that as a reference when it's trying to predict what your bullet's going to do. However, I wrote drag model here, not BC, because there's custom drag curves now that are done with radar, so you can find out exactly what your bullet's doing.
Are we going to do that today?
Absolutely not. Finally then, 0. Okay, so simple case of wherever you've determined your point of aim, point of impact is when you set up your rifle, usually it's 100 meters, okay? Center of your optic, your crosshairs, that's where I want my rounds to be landing. That is your 0, okay? This is it. This is where I get crucified for missing something out.
There you go. As John Lennon never sang, all you need is maths. Max records all this information in a natty little waterproof booklet that LRT supplies, which will stay in my rifle bag forever. In our quest for the magical Max Point Blank 0, Max then puts all the info into his ballistic calculator. And the first number he reveals is the greatest length my bullet can stay in that 8-inch pipe.
What we found was with this rifle, once we've gone through everything, is 290 meters. For this Max Point Blank 0, to get us that 290 meters, okay, we need to be zeroed, technically, at 243 meters, point of aim, point of impact. But that allows us a 290 meter max point blank, where we can just hold center on an 8-inch target, and we won't go more than 4 inches high, it won't go lower than 4 inches, or past 290, we'll go lower than 4 inches.
Can you believe it? The optimum FAR 0 for this 308 is 243. Now don't let those numbers confuse you. It is a .308 rifle that by coincidence has its optimum 0 at 243 metres. And the bullet enters the tunnel 22 metres from me, which is fine. I have not shot a red or seeker within 22 metres. Max's colleague Patch joins him to help him zero.
On glass? On glass.
Max and Patch are both Royal Marines snipers, coming officially out of the service at the end of this year and running this business, Long Reach Tactical, full-time. Having sorted out the 0, the test is whether he can hit a steel plate target out to 300 metres without holdover. The proof will be in the ding.
Impact. He's hitting hard there, so it's just proof that max point blank is effective, and it does work out to that range that we said at the start.
It's not just my bullets that have been on interesting trajectories today. Max and Patch have put me on a fantastic learning curve. They have a YouTube channel where they offer videos about shooting straighter, and a Patreon page which unlocks more videos on the same subject. And of course, they run actual real-life courses. Links below. Thanks, Max and Patch. What do you zero at and why? Comments below. And we can continue the conversation at the Stalking Show on the 12th to the 13th of April 2025. Here's David with what we're doing at the show.
Hi, just a quick message to say that Fieldsports Channel will have a stand at the Stalking Show 2025. It's a cracking event full of our friends and our kind of people. So come and see us on our stand in Hall 4, where you'll also find the likes of Mr. Niall Rowantree, who's making the trip from Scotland. Layla, our legal eagle, will be there on Saturday. Mr. Childley is threatening to make an appearance. Kai is threatening to make some venison kebabs. Jose Suto, Katie Hargreaves, Sergio Couto are all there. Please come and see us and join our membership with insurance catering for the modern shooter, hunter and stalker. And the first 10 sign-ups get the new David doll. Only joking, or am I? Charlie's needs some work.
Thanks, David. It's at Staffordshire County Showground. Visit thestalkingshow.co.uk for more details. Now, the bigger question, what's in this week's Fieldsports Extra? Some interesting stones and a woman in labour.
So there is a baby on the way.
This week's Fieldsports Extra prize draw is for, well, here's Patch back from Long Reach Tactical to explain.
Hi guys, Patch from LRT here. I'm just jumping on to sort of give you the opportunity for your weekly prize for Fieldsports members. It'll be a chance to jump on a one-on-one class with myself or Max from LRT. Just go through any needs or any gripes that you have within your shooting, and if you don't shoot, you can come down just for a one-on-one session with us. Secondly to that, I'd like to offer you the chance of winning a hurricane jacket by Arctis in Exeter, UK. And to go with that, you'll get £20 off in their online store. So I'd like to give you the chance to win over £200 worth of kit, gear and training tuition for myself and Max and the team at Arctis.
Thanks, Patch. Fieldsports Extra's weekly prize draw is simple to enter. Find out how on Fieldsports Extra, the exclusive show for members that goes out to them on Tuesday nights. Link to membership below, now with insurance. And Layla from the Fieldsports Advice Bureau, FAB, who, as David mentioned, will be at the stalking show on the Saturday. Next up, the broadcasting multi-tool that is David, now firmly ensconced on the Fieldsports Channel news stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. Labour has suspended the former head of the League Against Cruel Sports, now one of its MPs, following allegations of child rape. Police arrested North East Somerset and Hanham MP Dan Norris. Lax has suspended him as a director. Labour may have fired him, but the Labour government confirmed last week that it still plans to bring forward the Dan Norris bill to ban trail hunting. A warm March and April is leading to wildfires across the UK's uplands, especially on ground managed by the conservation industry. Organisations such as the RSPB and National Trust are politically opposed to creating fire breaks by cold-burning moorland. As a result, large swathes of moorland have gone up in smoke, burning deep peat and pouring carbon into the atmosphere. Fires have taken place in Staffordshire, the Mourne Mountains in Northern Ireland, in forestry in Galloway and East Ayrshire, and in Hampshire and the Cumbrian coast. A fire on one shooting estate in Derbyshire took place after Natural England placed the area in a no-cut zone and prevented quad bike access. Fences erected to keep deer out of Brewdog's tree planting project actually trapped them inside, according to a new report. After it emerged in 2023 that around half of the trees the brewer planted in its lost forest at Kinrara Estate had died, the Aberdeenshire-based firm erected fences to keep deer out. Now a Freedom of Information request by the national newspaper reveals that Brewdog has inadvertently fenced in the very animals they were hoping to keep out. The National Gamekeepers Organisation is promoting a new night shooting course. The new Lantra accredited course is for anyone who shoots at night. The course is available via the Shooting and Hunting Academy website, link below.
The NGO are delighted to collaborate with key players from both the pest control and deer management sectors to create a consolidated night shooting course, delivering the necessary skills and knowledge to implement safe, effective and humane control measures in both urban and rural environments around the UK.
Antis have won against wildfowlers in Chichester. The Chichester Harbour Conservancy Board has made the decision not to grant renewal of a licence for Chichester Wildfowlers Association to go wildfowling on its land. This film shows wildfowling at nearby Langston Harbour. The board heard representations from both wildfowlers and from West Sussex Wildlife Protection. It ruled that wildfowling is incompatible with conservation and restoration of nature and will ban shooting from the end of the 2025-26 season. The European Union has voted to allow hunters to resume shooting turtle doves. The species, which migrates from sub-Saharan Africa to Europe every year, has been the subject of both bird breeding and release schemes by hunters and a hunting ban since 2021. With its Western European population up by 40%, European hunters successfully argued they should be allowed to restart shooting. Channel 4 has taken down a news item about trophy hunting that was riddled with misinformation and inaccuracies. Channel 4 misrepresented Oxford University lion expert Amy Dickman's views. She did not say it was a very selective case or talk about compensation. She also disagreed that most scientists agree with the campaign to ban trophy hunting. In the film, one of Channel 4's top journalists dismissed the small but noisy group of scientists who are against a ban on trophy imports. She plans to lodge a complaint about the item. And finally, the Trump presidency is paying back Safari Club International for its support prior to the US elections in 2024. While countries and whole industries the world over are reeling from the Trump tariffs, all hunting trophies, raw and fully taxidermied, are exempt. Taxidermists in Southern Africa welcome the news.
This is great news. But as it said, there are tariffs on certain products. So for example, if while on safari, you pass a market and you buy several carvings and a coffee table, those items would attract a tariff. However, if you shoot a kudu, like the two beautiful kudus behind me, and you do a pedestal mount, that product there would be exempt from the tariff.
You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David, who begs all viewers please to like this video and subscribe. Thank you. Now, we have a new round of competitions for April 2025 on fieldsportscompetitions.co.uk. Here's Niall Rowantree talking about one of the two hike micro units we have on offer this month, the Falcon Thermal Spotter.
My own opinion, and the guys that work with me as guides, what we really like when we're stalking, particularly when you're stalking in the morning and on into the daylight, is to have the spotter and a pair of binoculars. Whereas when we're going out evenings or we're on control work for Sika, we find we're using the Habrock Pro thermal binocular all the time. Whereas in the daytime, it's nice to be able to balance between the two. I quite like this green palette because it seems easier when you're working in bad light. So this one we're looking at here, this is one of their new products. This is the Falcon. I find the rangefinder easy to work, the record system easy to work, and the focus very easy to work. So if you're going to have one device, you'd have this. You'd have that spotter. It does everything you need. It's ranging, it's nice and easy to focus, it's got good clear palettes on it. And if you had to have one thermal device only, that's what I would have.
Thanks, Neil, and you can enter the draw to win that prize and others at fieldsportscompetitions.co.uk. Next, the playgrounds are booming, literally. And it's not just men with time on their hands. One of the reasons is women going shooting. If you thought clay shooting was just for men of a certain age, think again. We're at the Surrey Shooting School, a stone's throw from Gatwick Airport. Marianne Troop has brought together more than 40 eager female shooters for her Dynamic Ladies Shooting Club's annual Tweed Shoot.
It's a great excuse just to dress up, really. And the ladies love it, and we have now made it a yearly event. I really pride myself on the fact that I specialise in bringing ladies that have never held a gun. So I am your first pit stop, if you want to call that. And they come to me, they learn gun safety, they learn to shoot at a competent level, and hopefully give them the confidence by having a structured sort of block of lessons where it does build up their confidence. And I think it's clear to see, you know, that it does work. The structure of Dynamic Lady Shooting Club does work. The girls call me their fairy gun mother. And it's so sweet, and I'm very, very proud because I still remember every individual shooter their very first time. And I've had all different emotions. I've had people cry, people shake, people pass wind, but I've had all different sort of reactions, but I always remember their first shot. And to see them now with 2, 3 guns, competing, registers, incredibly proud. And I think it's important for me to kind of do a shout out for the coaches. You know, I am not a world-class shooter. And I think it's important to give the credit to the coaches, instructors that are doing that introduction, because without us, we won't have people in the sport. We need coaches and instructors to introduce more people, have a go days. I'm hoping that I'm going to be doing a lot more dynamic ladies have a go days, just an open day where they can come along, watch the other ladies and just give it a go.
So I met Mars in September, so about 6 months ago. My partner works at one of the gun clubs and knew Mars, so introduced me, started having a couple of lessons, and I had one lesson and then my first beginners competition. Ended up in a shoot-off for first place. That was quite a lot of stress. And then I've had a few more lessons with Mars and really enjoy coming to these like big events where all the women are together, having a laugh. There's no pressure. We try not to make any pressure. And yeah, it's amazing.
It's been amazing. It's always so much fun, this shoot. It's like the first time that everyone's sort of out and the weather's not absolutely miserable. So everyone always feels a bit more lively. And it's one time a year where it's like everyone comes out, you know, we all get to see each other. Everyone's not got the winter blues anymore. Everyone's sort of a bit more relaxed and getting back into it for the summer.
It's been brilliant. It's been really good. It's just nice to come out meet new people, meet some existing friends, and just have a really fun day. And actually today, for me personally, has been really nice because this year I set myself I really want to get out more and have more lessons with Mars. And today's the first one I've kind of gone away and thought, oh, that was brilliant, and I feel happy with myself as well. I'm not saying it was perfect, but yeah, no, it was really good. It was, yeah, really lovely day.
It's been really good fun. It always is good fun coming to these things. It's just full of ladies that have got your back. Everyone's so supportive, and it's just a really good fun day. It's just a lovely way to spend a day. It is all down to Mars. She created it. She pulls people together. She seems to know how to get the best personalities all together. She just brings you up whatever level you are. She's just a really lovely, lovely tutor.
A massive round of applause. I think shooting is incredibly good for people, for mental health, getting out, confidence, socialising, meeting like-minded people. It's an incredible sport. I've made so many wonderful friends through shooting, and the ladies feel the same as well. And it has definitely given them a real boost for different reasons. Everyone's got their own personal journey.
You can find Marianne and the Dynamic Ladies on the web, Facebook and Instagram. Links below. Thanks all who took part in that. And that's it for this week. If you have not done so already, please visit our website, fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can click to like us on Facebook and on Instagram. You can follow us on X and TikTok. You can subscribe to us on YouTube or pop your email address into our weekly newsletter box and we will contact you about this show. Fieldsports Britain, it's at 7 p.m. UK time every Wednesday. And this has been Fieldsports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.